Welcome to Jags Drive Time with Ashlyn Sullivan, John Oehser, and Brian Sexton. Jags Drive Time starts right now.
I feel like Sunday got me ready for today, honestly. Sunday was a very physical day, but I feel like Doug intended on that happening. And I took a hit out there, took a couple of them, but I feel like I needed that to get right for tonight. So when I was out there, I wasn't worried about getting hit. I took a couple already. I was really trying to run through defenders and just trying to beat a hammer, not the nail, today. So when I felt like I just went out there, I think I could work on, but I was glad to be back out there.
What a comeback for running back Travis Etienne, missing almost an entire calendar year and finally back on the game field. Welcome into Jaguars Drive Time on a Monday. We are recapping the second preseason game after a couple days to decompress.
By the way, if his nickname isn't Smiley, it should be.
I know. He's always so happy.
Everyone who's watching this knows somebody who has that magnetic personality that every time they're in a room, you just want to go say hello. And that's Travis Etienne. I'm sure there's other people like that. But the most dynamic personality of anyone in that locker room that I know of is Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
What a great
It's
kid.
a guy you can't help but root for.
Well,
that's why it was so meaningful.
Because we talked about this all last year. Look, we got to wait and see. Can he practice every day? How will he be after the first, live game action? Well, all we hear is he's ready to go.
Right.
It's a huge deal that Liz Frank injury has ended players' careers. So it was no guarantee. And he worked his butt off all off season to be ready to go. And it's awesome. It's a great story.
It really is. It was a week short of a full calendar year since he injured it in the Saints game last season. And right, no guarantee and early, above schedule to get here in time.
But you get the sense, with that big smile on his face, that if he'd had a bad day, he still would have come out smiling and said, it'll get better.
Right.
I mean, he's just... good or bad, he's going to be a favorite in the locker room.
Absolutely. Let's get into big things, shall we? Recapping that second preseason game. Big thing one is the starting defense. Exactly what we wanted to see from that group after a week before, struggling a little bit against the run, and now we see the starting defense as one working together. The front seven bringing a lot of pressure, the secondary making some plays, and Foye Oluwakan's first game as a Jaguar.
I always told my parents, I'm just nervous going out there, making a good impression for my teammates and then, for the organization and stuff. But I think our energy was great to start the game. We were definitely in fit getting to the ball and everything. I just love the way we played to start off the game. Obviously, we're going to keep our energy up throughout the game and make sure everybody's on that same page.
Big thing, too, is starting offense. Took them a little bit to get going. The first two series would have liked to have touchdowns instead of field goals, but finally that third series scoring that touchdown. And Trevor Lawrence says the biggest thing is they didn't beat themselves.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the first step is you can't shoot yourself in the foot, I thought Coach did a great job getting the calls in and out of the huddle, and then there's always going to be times when you're kind of behind the play clock and you got to speed up. And I thought throughout camp we've done a good job of working that. And guys getting to their spot quick and being able to line up and go when we need to, because you're going to have to be able to do that. So tonight we had a couple of those that we had to do and execute, and ended up having a positive play. And then no false starts, holds, any of that stuff. That's huge. You can't hurt yourself.
And big thing three is depth. Now, I guess you could say this is the area of concern in a preseason game when the offense and defensive starters left the field. There was a huge drop-off in the depth of this team. Head coach Doug Peterson says it's on this coaching staff to get them ready.
You can a little bit, to try to have some success on offense and defense. I still think it's difficult, especially with the amount of players that both teams are playing this time of year. And obviously we have 2 games under our belt, but they'll have 1, so there's not a lot to go off of. But you still want your team to have success going into the game, so you try to prepare them a little bit for what they may see. But again, it kind of just boils down to just doing your job, and how you're coached and what you're coached to do assignment-wise. And I think tonight, especially in the second half, we had a number of mistakes that cost us and it hurt us at times.
And there you have it. Those are big things, recapping a preseason game against the Cleveland Browns.
And let's go right to the depth issue, because it wasn't good. But let me put something in perspective, maybe something you haven't thought about. Will Richardson was the starting left tackle on that second-team offensive line. He did not play well. No. Okay. Now, when he doesn't play well, it doesn't look good at all for Ben Bartch, who's lined up next to him, right? Or maybe the tight end who's supposed to chip on the way out. When that left tackle is struggling in such a prominent position, plays break down, it makes everything look bad. Well, I didn't think he was going to make this team anyway, right? I mean, maybe he does. I'm not making that decision. But with what you've got with Walker Little, right, and Juwan Taylor, one of the two of them is now your swing tackle, not Will Richardson Jr., right? So you think, well, gosh, we have no depth because we've got Will Richardson Jr., who's struggling out there playing left tackle for us. Well, he's not going to be yours. So you actually do have depth at a critical position, because what you would do is, if Cam can't play, move Walker Little over to the left side and put Juwan Taylor in at right tackle. Or,
Vice
reverse.
versa.
Whatever
Right.
you choose to do, you've got better depth at left tackle than you think. But when you're watching the game, you're thinking, well, Will Richardson's an important guy. He's a backup. Not really. Not really, because you drafted Walker Little last year, and the year before you drafted Juwan Taylor, so you've actually got depth there. Now, I mean, that there were other positions that broke down that you may not have depth at, but that's just a glaring example of how you can't say second team didn't score any points, they gave up a lot of points. Coach mentioned it. There's a lot of guys coming in and out of the lineup that don't necessarily work against each other on the practice field or work with each other on the practice field. There's just a big dynamic when you get beyond the first team.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've got to be better, but it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, and you expect a drop-off, right? Like, you expect a big drop-off. And I
In
think
some places.
fans panicked because it was a massive drop-off. But I love what Coach Peterson said. We spoke to him on the radio broadcast post-game, and he's like, look, I was in their shoes before. They're playing with all this pressure. They're trying to make this team. At times, there's some hero ball going on, wanting to make the
100%.
big play to impress instead of doing your assignments.
Yep.
Basically told everyone, just pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to get them ready. Right now, there's 90 guys we're trying to figure out.
And you're counting on those guys on special teams and maybe some sub packages, but the first team is where we want to see improvement, and we did. And we did see that. Let's go back to the top and talk about the defense real quick. And we can talk about Rayshon Jenkins and the forced fumble and what he did there. But the three guys who get the least amount of attention and accolades are those three interior linemen in this 3-4 scheme, because we're always talking about Trayvon and Josh, right?
We will continue,
But
yes.
in the first two drives, we on the television broadcast, Bucky and I were talking about Devon Hamilton. I hope Nick Harris, the starting center for the Browns, has successful surgery and is back quickly. But Devon folded him. I mean, just pushed him backwards. Well, that was great to see, because you're counting on Devon. I watched Foley Fatukasi and I watched Roy Robertson Harris both collapse their defender back into the pocket and make either Deshaun Watson or Ernest Brown make a play to the outside where there were players waiting. Those three guys, all three, showed how much better this defense is, because if they set the tempo like that, and they won't always set it like that, but if they can, well, now you got linebackers, right? You'll have your Devin Lloyds and your Foye Oluokans, screaming to the ball with no one in front of them. Those three guys were really impressive and showed why I think everybody believes that this defense is going to be that much better this year.
Oh, yeah. It was a vast improvement from week one. And I have to pump the brakes on myself, because I know Nick Chubb and those running backs
and
weren't
Joel
playing.
Bettino, their all-pro guard, didn't play. So, I mean, you do have to kind of shade it a little bit.
Right.
But let's be honest. Based on what we saw in week one,
totally different.
Or last year at times, we wouldn't have been talking about how dominant those interior three were. And nobody ever focuses on the three interior defensive linemen in a 3-4 scheme. And yet they were, and that speaks volumes for how much better this defense can be this year.
And going against Deshaun Watson as well. And we've seen his talent. And listening to the TV broadcast, that's what everyone was talking about nationally is, oh my gosh, look at this Jaguars defense against Deshaun Watson. Granted, he hasn't played in forever.
They made him
but
think.
Not a good showing.
No, they made him think. And here's a guy who hadn't played in, 18, 19 months, a little bit longer than that. So he was going to be rusty no matter what. But they didn't give him any time.
No.
Right? If he had 3 seconds instead of 2, perhaps he looks better. They did a great job on the defensive front.
They did. And let's quickly mention, big thing too, the starting offense. Took them 3 series to get a touchdown, but there were some impressive moments at times. I think Trevor Lawrence will admit he missed some throws those first 2 series, and that's the reason he's playing a preseason game, is to get that timing better.
Right. You can't. It's tough to replicate that on the practice field when guys aren't going to hit you. I'll say this. Travis Etienne should have had a touchdown on the first drive.
Right.
He saw that ball coming, and he's thinking about getting to the corner. You could see that he was trying to figure out where he was in relation to the sideline and the cone, and when he needed to turn it up, and he just took his eyes off the ball. That was a good throw, and he probably gets into the end zone. So, yes, they need more time. Thankfully, they've got a couple more weeks before they've got to get there. And even, Ashlyn, I think even when they get into the regular season, it's going to take a little time to get into that.
Right. That timing.
But what they've got are pieces and tools that they can plug in and attack situations that they haven't been able to do. They've improved this roster. Last Friday night proved that the roster is significantly improved.
Yes.
Now they have to go out and execute.
Absolutely. And I was on the sidelines for radio, and Bernie Pomeroy was saying that same thing to Travis Etienne, that they're so happy for him and they can tell he's so excited, but they were saying he's almost too antsy right now. And you mentioned the patience.
But didn't you know you were going to see that from him?
For
after
sure.
a year?
How could you not?
You knew
right?
it.
But it was just funny. Coach Pomeroy was like, all right, settle down.
Yep, right.
Yeah, you're on the
And
field.
he will.
Absolutely.
And he will.
All right, that is big things. When we come back, some highlights from the second preseason game against the Browns coming up on Jaguars Drive Time.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Jags fans, Shaquille Griffin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know you love when we put the QB in his place with a big interception, and now Luray Boyd Peanut Company is making every pick a winning play with the Peanut Pickoff. Every time the Jaguars make a pick, Luray Peanuts is going to donate to youth football initiatives throughout the Southeast, and the Jaguars Foundation will match every dollar. We get one play closer to victory, and our kids get to train for a brighter future. Everyone wins, except for the other team's QB. But hey, that's his problem.
Crown Royals That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
If you're a Jaguars fan on the go, we've got the ticketing plan for you. The bundle at the bank is designed to fit your schedule and save you money by creating your own custom plan. From celebrating Tony Baselli's Hall of Fame enshrinement on October 9th to cheering us on against the Cowboys on December 18th, you get the flexibility you want for your time here at the bank. Visit jaguars.com for your bundle at the bank. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time, a Monday morning, back on the training camp practice field today, a night practice. We're very much looking forward to that, but of course it's the coolest morning in Jacksonville so far, right. So of course they would move it to nighttime today.
I'll just tell you, it was really nice to walk out this morning with the dogs and feel that little bit of a breeze.
Yeah, and you're not already sweating at 6 a.m.
At least 2 months before we get that on a regular
Right?
basis. Probably 3.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get into some highlights from the second preseason game. We're going to go first drive here in that offense we were talking about, some big-time catches from Trevor Lawrence's receivers.
Got 3 receivers and a tight end. That's Manhurst at the top of the screen. Play action rolling out now. With time, what's the big shot? He's got Zay Jones. He's got it. Zay Jones makes the catch across midfield, and the Jaguars come out with an exclamation point on their first play, 32 yards. This rebuilt offensive line is a big story we'll talk about tonight. They're doing a good job. Lawrence standing in the pocket, turns and delivers the pass. It's caught in traffic. And it's a 9-yard pickup to about the 9-yard.
So that's the first offensive drive, and I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is after last season, when all Jaguars fans wanted is a big-time play, a big-time throw, something to move down the field. That very first play, to have it be Zay Jones and that big-time catch, that's all you needed to see.
So I anticipated that because in our production meeting with Trevor on Thursday, he was wide-eyed about Zay Jones and was excited because he said, we're going to have him in a lot of different situations. We're going to put him in places to make plays. And so immediately he goes right down the field. So you could see it. We've seen it on the practice.
Oh, yeah. He's
the
guy.
That was great. It was the throw to Manhurst in particular that I want to focus on because the pocket did a great job, right? I mean, you've got a rookie center. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, but it's the first time Brandon Sheriff has played in a game situation with your quarterback. And you've got a rotating situation at right tackle. But they set up a perfect pocket, and the quarterback was comfortable, stepping forward, waiting. He didn't worry about get hit. and then he put the ball in the middle of the field, right where big Chris Manhertz could get it.
Right.
That's what
With
Manhertz
three
is going to do.
defenders collapsing. Yeah.
He's going to muscle the ball at the marker for you. He's not the seam tight end. He's a reliable guy, though. So I love what I saw from the pocket on both of those, and the quarterback. We've said it here since training camp began. The quarterback is incredibly confident on the practice field. You can see this year that he knows what he wants to do and that he has the full support of that coaching staff. They're working almost in lockstep, he told us. So we saw it, and it's only going to get, I shouldn't say that. There will be moments where you'll see it. You'll be like, what's happening out here? But I think we're seeing his incredible potential to be a franchise quarterback evolve right in front of us.
Yeah, the offensive line gave him all the time in the world.
You bet.
And that was with Jawan Taylor on the first 2 series and then Walker Little going in the third and fourth. So we
Right.
were keeping a close eye on who was going to go out.
Right.
But as of right now, Jawan Taylor seems to be the guy.
And you do have to put this, you got to put this in perspective. There was no Myles Garrett, who last year had 16 sacks.
Yeah, that would
And
be a little different story.
Is the best big end in football. And there was no Jadeveon Clowney on the other side, though, with Cam Robinson is playing. I disagree. I think Walker Little's going to be your starting right tackle. So we'll see where it goes.
I know. I'm curious. It's what we'll pay attention to of who is walking out every single series now.
just-
And maybe it changes this week.
I just think he's got the footwork and the length. He looks more natural at that position. Please, somebody move the big guy, Juwan, into guard and let's see him play.
I'm sure Coach Rauscher's listening right now.
No, he's not listening at all.
All right, we talked all about Travis Etienne in the first block, so let's see some highlights of his big runs in the preseason game.
Nullify these guys on the edges.
Here's the handoff to Etienne, and looking to go. Breaking a tackle, showing the explosiveness on that 13-yard run. Ingram and Manhertz, the tight ends, to the bottom of the screen. And here's Etienne looking for room. Bounces off the defender, keeps his feet moving inside the 5. Lawrence surveys and hands off, and here is Etienne, and he ducks underneath the defender inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. Barks out the signal, takes the drop, turns and throws. He's got Travis, and Etienne takes it, turns up the field, and it's another Jacksonville first down inside the 33-yard line.
That last run is really the one that got the crowd going, at least on the sidelines, as he could have gotten out of bounds here. And instead he turns and gets the first down and is aware.
Well, and also note the patience as he gets the ball before he turns up the field. It's almost the exact same route that they ran in the red zone where he dropped it on the opening drive. So he's adapting. He's calming down. You talked about Bernie Parmalee there on the sidelines, telling him to calm down.
Yeah.
He slowed the roll that time, and he did it. The explosiveness is there. The vision is there. He's a patient runner. And I loved watching him run between the tackles because when you look at him, you think, this is a guy. He's not a huge guy. He's big, but he's not that. He doesn't look like Snoop Connor, right? Connor looks like a hammer.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's funny because in the post game, Travis said, I wanted to be the hammer, not the nail. Well, he was tonight.
Yeah.
He was, and he did it Friday night. He did a nice job.
He did. All right, let's go to this defense. We haven't talked enough about them and the aggressive style of play and turnovers. Remember how much we talked about the lack of turnovers last year?
100%.
You get one in the preseason.
Harris and Devon Hamilton have done a little of that tonight. Here's Brown on his second carry. He loses the ball. It's recovered by Shaquille Griffin, and the Jaguars are in business at the Cleveland 21.
Couple things that stand out right away.
So our guy, Trent Padilla, our fabulous director and producer, got this awesome second angle so we can really see how this play was made. But Rayshawn Jenkins and Shaquille Griffin, that duo, they are together always on the field. They're together always off the field.
Look,
good for them to make the play.
If we had a little higher angle on this, you see 94, 52, and 95, those big guys that we talked about earlier, stacking. There's nowhere for this guy to go.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to try to bounce it to the outside, but there was nowhere for him to run there either.
Right.
I'm telling you, those guys right there, those big guys in the middle are the key to making a defense like this work. And it looks to me like they're going to make it work really well this year.
Absolutely. And we've been waiting for that secondary to make a play. And yes, it is the preseason.
They will make plays when they have the ability,
when they have the
time.
help.
Yep, and they got it. They've
Absolutely.
got it now.
All right, and those are our highlights from preseason game. When we come back, what we do know and what we don't know about this Jaguars team right now, coming up on Jaguars Drive Time.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
At VyStar Credit Union, you inspire us to deliver on our promise, to do good for our members and our communities. That's why we offer more banking options, like better rates and no hidden fees. We also give back, donating several $millions to hundreds of nonprofits each year. Better financial lives, stronger communities. VyStar Credit Union. Do good. Bank better. Visit vystarcu.org/join. Insured by NCUA.
Call CarShield now. If your car's out of manufacturer's warranty, don't get stuck with expensive mechanical and computer screen repairs. Call CarShield. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time. It's a Monday morning. We're getting ready for week 3 of the preseason. We have a lot of questions about this roster right now as it starts breaking down from a 90-man to a 53 here shortly. So what do we know and what do we don't know about two particular players? Brian, you have someone on defense.
I'll take Chad Muma. Here's what I know. He's really smart, right? He has a degree in mechanical engineering and was the heartbeat of that, the Wyoming Cowboys defense. I mean, every time you turned them on, you saw this guy directing traffic and mostly making the play. So in week 1 in the Hall of Fame game, he looked just a bit behind the play, right? I mean, when you come from there, college football, to this level, you know, the speed of the game is going to catch you off guard if you're not careful. And so it looked like he was a step behind. We saw him turn that around a little bit in the second half against the Raiders, but it was obvious on Friday night that he had figured it out, right? So what I don't know is how much better he can get, how much quicker, right?
Yeah, it was a week different.
I mean, he's so smart. And, you know, Paul Posluszny, I thought, was the most prepared linebacker I'd ever watched. He knew the tape, he knew the tendencies, and he could overcome anything, any limitations he had, right, by being in the right place at the right time. Well, this guy really can. He's a good runner. I mean, he can cover a lot of ground, and it appears he's a Paul Posluszny type, smart, studies the tape, understands. I don't know how you keep him off the field. I mean, he doesn't look like he's going to be a starter, obviously, because he's an inside linebacker, but they're going to create packages and places to get him out there to make plays. There was one in particular, the Jaguars sideline, mid-second quarter, where he came from nowhere and just stoned the running back. I think it was Kelly Jr. on the sideline. It was like, whoa, where did he come from?
Right.
That's what you
way
want.
Faster this week.
You have to see the explosiveness, and that comes from understanding where you're supposed to be. I don't think it's making too much of his education. A mechanical engineer, he figures things out quickly.
So he watches tape and goes, okay, here's what I have to fix.
Yeah, I mean, if you're excited about this guy, and we expect to see some of Devin Lloyd this week.
Yes.
But if you're excited about Chad Muma, you should be, because he understands this game.
Very curious how they balance that, because Devin Lloyd, I think, is supposed to come back at some point, hopefully tonight, in tonight's practice. They're supposed to see him back on the practice field this week. I don't know if he would play in the preseason game with a hamstring, and it's tricky. But I'm curious how they use these packages to get them both on the field, because you kind of have to at this point.
Well, you'd like to think that he would see some time in one of these final 2 preseason games.
You'd hope so, right?
It depends on how his body responds tonight.
Absolutely. All right, I have Zay Jones for what we know and what we don't know. What I do know is they got their money's worth on this guy, bringing him in free agency. We had some questions of how Zay Jones would be used, and truthfully, That's my biggest, I don't know, but my gosh, what a beautiful thing to not know, because he's all over this field. I don't think he has one job. I don't think he has one spot. And we're hearing all the compliments from Trevor Lawrence and Coach Peterson on we're going to see him everywhere. And we don't have to put him in one slot because look at all the things he can do. The biggest thing with Zay Jones, what we do know is this is a guy that just gets open and he doesn't give up on a route. He's running all over the place, has some patience, and you see it in the preseason game. Trevor Lawrence knows first, second, third progression. Okay, Zay Jones is open because he beat his guy. Maybe it took a little time, but this is a guy that is just always open no matter what, on the training camp field or in the game.
When they signed him, I was skeptical because big guys who can run generally don't get free, right? He must not have good hands. He must not run good routes. I was trying to figure out why the Raiders, who by the way are a franchise who's always valued speed, right? Always. Why did they let a guy like this go? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just they couldn't fit him in the salary structure, but I'm telling you, I've not watched him on the practice field and wondered anything but, why did they let him go?
Yeah.
He just keeps making play after play after play after play.
Right.
So, especially when Christian Kirk gets back, because he's that kind of guy. He creates spacing on the field, right? When you've got that slot receiver who in the middle of the field has a safety going, where's Kirk? Where's 13, right? You can't have,
Zay Jones ran past me.
Exactly, right. He will space the field out better for Zay Jones, and I think you'll see even more explosive potential from number 7. But from a guy who didn't think he was a big signing, couldn't understand why.
No, at the time it didn't seem that way.
Why a guy like that would be let go from Buffalo and from the Raiders.
Right.
Glad he's here.
Absolutely. And Coach Doug Peterson did say that Christian Kirk, if it was a regular season game, would play. They're just being cautious. So maybe we'll see him on the practice field. You really don't need to.
Well,
things are okay.
What you want them is on the field on September the 11th in Washington.
Absolutely. And that is what we do know and don't know about this Jaguars team right now. Much more to come here on Jaguars Drive Time.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback, coupons, all in one. It's free. Try Price.com today.
You can a little bit, to try to have some success on offense and defense. I still think it's difficult, especially with the amount of players that both teams are playing this time of year, and obviously we have 2 games under our belt where they'll have 1, so there's not a lot to go off of. But you still want your team to have success going into the game, so you try to prepare them a little bit for what they may see. But again, it kind of just boils down to just doing your job. And how you're coached and what you're coached to do assignment-wise. And I think tonight, especially in the second half, we had a number of mistakes that cost us and hurt us at times.
Head coach Doug Peterson being asked if they will game plan for Saturday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is the 3rd preseason game, so normally this is the game where you treat it the most like the regular season. So we saw 3 series for the starters last Friday. Possibly are going to see some more this week.
You'll see them pull the cards out on Wednesday and Thursday and show, basic formations. You can't game plan beyond maybe the first series if you know their starters are going to be there. The coaches take Monday night and almost all day Tuesday to game plan during the regular season. You're not doing that because you're still in evaluation mode. What you're doing is putting a card up so that you have some ability to be able to block, right? To understand what they do defensively, to know what their blocking schemes are, so that you have ability to do it defensively. But there's still no game plan for this one. You're trying to evaluate. You're trying to make sure that you're getting the right combinations of players with the right plays so that when you get to the regular season, you've got a familiarity and you're ready to go.
And to me, for this third preseason game coming up on Saturday, I saw enough of the defense, truthfully, last week.
Yeah.
But I could understand for the offense how it took a little bit to get going, field goals the first 2 series. Maybe you want to see more of them and challenge them again in that game action.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the third preseason game was the one where they would always play the most when there were 4, right? And they would play the first half and then go to halftime, make adjustments, and come out and play the first series of the third quarter.
Which would make sense.
I don't know that you do that. I don't think Doug wants to do that. I think the clue is he talks about making sure that you don't lose a key player here or there. That was post-game in Canton. You don't want to lose those guys because it throws your entire season off if you do. But you want to make sure that you create a little bit of momentum in the game. So if it were me, first series, down the field, touchdown, I got enough. I don't need any more than this. That's enough.
Yeah.
And I get it. The big guys who take a beating inside, I don't need to see Foley. I don't need to see
Roy Robertson,
Devon
Harris,
or
yeah.
Roy. No, got enough. Saw it. Got enough.
And I got the vibe, at least from being on the sidelines, that second series was going to be that series if they got that touchdown.
Yes.
And then when they didn't score, I saw the helmets go back on. I saw some frustration.
Right.
They didn't want it ended on that. And I totally get that. You need a touchdown to end it.
You're probably not playing anybody when you get to Atlanta for the season, the preseason finale. So the guys that you want to see, you got to see them in this game. So I'm sure that Doug and Trent Baalke will get together and be judicious and make sure that they aren't overreaching.
Like that Walker Little Juwan Taylor battle. I think that's something
You need to,
especially on
you
Saturday.
want it to be a fair battle. You want the best player to win. So you're going to make sure that they get enough snaps to get the job done. But you don't want a Nick Harris, right? You don't want to see a guy that you're counting on that offensive front getting nicked up.
That was awful. Yeah, you felt for them there.
Well, without
and
a
then
doubt.
Zach Wilson with the New York Jets, at first that was an ACL tear. Now it's something better, but you hear it every single year. It's worst case scenario, and my gosh, it happens every year.
But you also hear the players. You heard last week Andre Cisco say that he needed the live reps in practice and needed the game time because you don't practice that.
Oh yeah, no, it's a hard balance.
It's
very much so.
Right. So you feel pretty good about what you saw from the first team. You may want to put a few guys in situations. You may want to put a couple guys and say you're not playing. Brandon Sheriff, who hasn't played a full season the last couple of years in
I'm
Washington.
good. Thanks.
Seen enough. Thanks. Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. And that is Drive Time on a Monday morning. Like we said, a night practice. We'll have coverage on that practice tonight on Jaguars.com. We'll be back with you Wednesday morning right here on Jaguars Drive Time.